This is the weekly Grifball Hubcast, only on GrifballHub.com.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Grifball Hubcast, episode 306. I'm Goose Checka.
I'm Kal.
And we have the Sonic Chaos.
Hello.
See? He had Gusto too.
He does. So Sonic Chaos, 1993. I guess 1993 was a special year for you.
Yeah. I wasn't born there or anything. It has no significance whatsoever.
Odd enough, my baby sister also was not born in 1993.
Yeah. You know, so kids today, when they create their gamer tags...
Did you just say kids today?
Yeah, kids today. When they make their gamer tags, do they put like 2004 or something at the end of it to signify the year they were born? Or has that kind of fallen out of favor?
Who are you asking?
Just in general, I know that all of us are in touch with, hashtag teens and all that, with their Instagrams and their Snapchats.
We are on the Snapchats.
I was on Snapchat for like 5 seconds, and then my account disappeared. I don't know what that was. Oh, God, that was such an old person joke. I'm so sorry.
So anyway, we're here to talk about...
That was such an old man joke.
Can we talk about Grifball?
I guess.
I heard there was an agenda that you made.
Yeah.
So can we start
a little
with
bit?
that?
A little bit.
I don't think terrible dad jokes were on the agenda.
Yeah, well, they're always on the agenda. They're always on the menu. All right. So right now it is mid-July. It's hard to believe it's already been a week and a half since we came home from RTX. So RTX was 2 weekends ago. 2 weeks ago today, it was Sunday morning. We were running through the tournament. We had just our pro teams, just our league teams left. All the attendee teams have been knocked out, getting 9-0'd. 9-0'd in a 5-round game.
5-0'd, rip garbage rounds.
Yeah, rip. So that RTX was wrapping up. So Sonic, do you have any last thoughts on RTX before we, close the book on RTX 2016? How do you think it went?
I was very pleased. I was stressed. I know I mentioned to a lot of people down there, I was stressed out about the stage for a while. Just having done the budget for it and whatnot and not having done a live event like that before. And then seeing it come together was very nice. There were only relatively minor emergencies.
Yeah.
Though Taco might disagree with me.
Nothing that couldn't be fixed.
Yeah, I think controllers disconnecting counts as a minor, if annoying, emergency.
I was telling him next year we're going to rent another light, put it right on top of the stage, make it green, and we'll just flash it up like just a spotlight, like the bat signal.
Yeah,
the taco signal.
You get little taco cutouts. That way it's like black on green.
Yeah, give DJ a button up on stage so he can hit it whenever there's a problem.
A panic button.
Yeah.
The taco
Taco
button.
button.
That way we don't have to see just the glint of terror in DJ's eyes as he looks up and scans the audience for Taco.
Where is he?
That's the nice thing about things like RTX and any like big production, big events like that is honestly, if it's done right, most of the real work is done beforehand. That you put so much time into planning, so much time and effort into planning the whole thing, that by the time you get there, it's just you already know exactly what needs to be done. You don't have to make any decisions. It's just a matter of just executing all the plans you've already laid out.
Well, there were decisions to be made. And decisions to be told, no, you're not doing that.
Yes, that's true. Goose had to keep people in line. But like big big decisions of like how big a stage do we need, and where are we renting the stage from, and when is it arriving, and like those.
Oh God, we mapped the stage out for 8-foot tables, but we have 6-foot tables.
Yeah, occasionally some things slip through the cracks.
Oh God, we need to go to a fabric store 5,000 miles away to get something that we don't even need.
Yeah.
It's okay. That's why someone's got to be there to swing the band hammer. It's all I really could do. So I'm glad to have been of service.
Yes, you could. Yeah, but since we had all those designs and the layouts and the budget and everything Sonic put together, it was. So, I mean, honestly, Sonic gave me a list of things to buy like a month before RTX. I was like, hey, we need these things from Amazon and these things, these Ethernet cables and these other things. I was like, okay, just put them all in the cart and they'll all be there when we get there. That way we don't have an emergency. It was like, oh, crap, I thought the rental place would give us this cable, but it turns out we don't have this cable. And that kind of thing didn't arise.
Yeah. I mean, it turned out, too, that they did offer the cables for free with the rental, but I would have rather had them than try to scramble to buy them there.
Yeah.
Buying them anywhere in store would have been like 3 times the price, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw that because we went out to, was it Walmart, right? One night?
Target, if you're talking about when we got the fan and whatnot.
Yeah, Target. Yeah, and we were looking for, was a USB cable of some kind?
Yeah, we were looking for the cables for the controller, the
Yeah, the
micro
charge
USB
cables.
cables to hook those up, and they were like $20 a piece.
Yeah.
Like a 3-foot cable.
Yeah, you get them at, mono price for like $2 each.
Yeah. Darn capitalism.
I know. And that's the thing too, is like, especially with like HDMI cables. Like HDMI cables are insanely expensive. Even today, like 10 years after it's become standard. You go to someplace like Walmart or Best Buy, and HDMI cables are like $30. But you buy them online at, wholesaler, and they're dirt cheap. They're $2 each.
All right, are we done?
It's like
with the old man
it preys on people like us who are like, crap, I need an HDMI cable. I need it in the next 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, $40, please.
The entire reason for it is all the companies compete so hard on like TV prices and the big ticket items that there's almost no profit in them. Because I used to work in an electronics store, we would make like maybe 0.5% profit margin on TVs, but cables would be like 40 to 60% margin.
Wow.
Or more than that. So you make your money selling cables and accessories, then.
So overall, you think our RTX went pretty well?
Yeah, absolutely. I was very impressed with how the stage went together. The broadcast in particular was smooth, aside from a couple issues when we first started on Friday. Like compared to last year, where we had like the roboting and receptors mic the entire weekend, and like there was nothing. There was nothing to that scale.
They're like, yeah, receptor kept talking, and there was like this peculiar accent that the mic kept picking up, and we just couldn't get rid of it.
It didn't know how to handle the Welsh.
Yeah. He should have just broadcast the whole weekend in Welsh.
I am disappointed that he didn't wear the dragon onesie.
He did, just not on stage.
That's not a disappointment. I'm okay with that.
You're not fun.
I know.
Old Man Killjoy, that's your new name.
No, and Taco didn't wear his taco hat at the booth either.
No, but Receptor did give Taco a giant plushy taco. So it kind of, I guess, goes full circle there. But yeah, okay, it's done. It's over. We have at least a couple months where we can not think about it.
Yes, until we start planning RTX 2017.
Which we have a couple months.
We have a couple months.
Okay. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah.
A couple months of peace and quiet.
Yeah, I see that Sonic's got a new best friend he brought home from Texas.
Yeah.
Which is great for our audio listeners, Cal. Do you want to
maybe
expand?
He's got Griff. He's got the Griff cut out. Griff does not pack up very well. Like, after you set up the standee, it's got a lot of tape and sticky parts to make it stand up, and disassembling is not very easy. And if you disassemble it, you can't really reassemble it a second time. So every year we buy a new Griff cutout.
Yes.
And then it goes home with somebody every year. Usually someone who's drove to RTX, because you don't want to buy a second plane ticket just to Griff,
Yeah, we shipped him back once. That's how we have our Griff, which you can't see.
Oh yeah, we did. Yep.
It was Tex actually shipped it to us as an envelope. That's technically
thin enough to be in a giant envelope.
That's how they shipped it. And then Myrn Alley took it home the next year.
Yep.
And then
Magikarp
had one, and
because
then
he's
now
local.
Sonic.
Sonic's got one.
So next year we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, taking him through airport security would be awkward, because they would ask, "What's that in his hand?"
It's a ball.
It's a ball.
Ball.
Yeah, definitely a ball.
Yes, Griff has sticky parts. Thank you, Oogie.
Yes, he does.
Be a good title for this podcast.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, it's done. It's over. Let's move on to
So when you drove Griff up north, up to Illinois, did you get to use an extra carpool lane?
There actually were not any carpool lanes on the route I took. I was surprised. Last year when I picked up Rebel and we went through Memphis, there was around there.
But then you had Rebels, so.
Yeah. But now in the future, whenever you want to go in the carpool lane, you just throw Griff in your passenger seat and you'll be all set.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Oh, Goose has a star U. He has to catch.
Gotta catch them all.
So Sonic, you've been playing Pokemon?
Yes.
What team?
Team Valor.
Boo!
Fight me.
Okay.
Valor's the red team, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, they're the one everyone hates.
Except themselves. They don't hate
Because
themselves.
we're good.
No, it's okay. We're on Team Instinct.
Go with your gut.
But I keep calling them Team Impact because I have a Grifball problem. I'm like, yeah, let's go Team Impact. Nobody.
Yeah.
You're like, well, you mean Instinct? Oh. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, right?
Yeah, it is.
European Grifball team. Pokemon Go team.
Yeah, Goose and I took over our first gym yesterday.
For all of about 5 minutes.
For 5 minutes.
Yep. Although I should say it was outside of a jewelry store, and I felt really, really creepy.
We were scouting the place.
Sitting in a
heist.
car, engine running, phones up like this.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a little uncomfortable.
I mean,
especially when the guy came to the door and was holding the door open. I was like, is he gonna yell at us? He was holding it open for an old lady, but
it's like, hey kids, stop with your Pokemons.
Yeah, it was. Oh, Oogie, that's mean. You're a mean Oogie. So Instinct is dumb.
I almost feel bad for Instinct because around here, at least, I see there's an area of downtown where there's probably like 10 gyms within a 2-mile radius or so, and like 8 of them are Valor. Or sorry, probably not 8. Probably more like 6 are Valor, 3 are Mystic, and there's just 1 Instinct, and it just stays Instinct for about 15 minutes, then becomes something else.
It's okay. It's about quality, not quantity.
Actually, in this case, I think it's literally about quantity.
Although it was really funny. I was watching the Euro Championship game, which was France versus Portugal. France was in their blues, Portugal was in red, and the referees were in yellow. I was like, hey, it's a Pokemon Go match where red and blue are murdering each other while yellow stands back and laughs at them for being stupid.
Yep.
That's how I interpreted it.
Yes.
Not as red and blue make it to the finals and yellow is sidelined.
Yep.
Literally.
Red versus blue?
That too.
If anyone is interested in hearing about Goose's thoughts about Pokemon Go, you should listen to the latest episode of Psych Tech or other podcasts.
No, it's not released yet.
Oh, when's it coming out? Wednesday?
Later. Next week.
Okay, so
Wednesday.
Probably Wednesday.
It's called Headshots.
Yes.
It's our specifically gaming and psychology podcast.
Oh, it's not Psych Tech?
No. That's broad technology and psychology. This is very specifically about game design, and game psychology.
And it's a brand new podcast.
It's a brand new podcast.
Okay, so check out Goose's brand new podcast called Headshots.
We talk about Pokemon Go a lot.
Yeah.
And how everybody writing articles about it is wrong and stupid.
So how Pokemon Go is either the end of the world or the savior of all mankind. Those are both wrong.
Or my personal favorite, the psychology of Pokemon. I'm like, no, sorry. Next. So maybe we should talk about Grifball.
Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch all the teams.
Pokeball is shaped like a Grifball, but one is more, what's exothermic and one's more endothermic.
Well, like Grifball, once it captures you, it never lets go.
Well, I mean, sometimes you break out.
Yeah, sometimes you break out, but then usually you just get pulled right back in.
I don't know. Shadow made a clean break.
For now.
You tossed him berries, but he didn't come back.
For now.
Give him a year.
Okay.
Like I say, people who make Goodbye Cruel World posts, those are the ones who usually come back.
He didn't make a Goodbye Cruel World post.
I know, but he made a video and stuff.
But that was for his channel.
It's like, if you do that, it's the people who just vanish that don't come back.
Is it because they
don't care? Oh, unless you mean like Secret Police, like they vanish in the middle of the night?
Yeah. They
did something ban-worthy?
The Grifstapo?
Yeah, the Grifstapo comes and takes them away.
Is that too soon?
Speaking of the Grifstapo.
Oh, really? You're going to start with that?
Don't make alternate gamer tags.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
You might not get caught the first time or the second time, but at some point you might get caught, and then we have to ban you.
And it sucks for you, and it sucks for, like, all 4 teams that you have been playing for.
Affected by it.
Yeah.
Although back in my day, if you made alt tags, you made 14 of them.
I know.
Not 4.
Just making 1 alt tag is kind of lame.
Yeah.
I wonder sometimes if Laggers is just watching over the forums and just seeing stuff like this and just shaking his head.
Yeah, kids today don't know how to make alt tags.
These amateurs.
Exactly.
Yeah. I posted on Twitter, like somebody asked, I think it was Gabe asked, how does this rank on the AGLA drama scale? Was there drama? And I was like, this is like a 4 out of 10.
I was thinking like a 2.
Or like a 2 out of 10.
It wasn't even drama. I was like, it happened, it was reported, it was verified, they were informed, and that was it. There's not even a free insert name. I don't know if we've released that publicly yet.
Yeah, we have.
Okay, free puppies.
Goose can get behind that.
Oogie, edit that out.
Free puppies movement.
Hashtag free puppies.
Sorry. I didn't realize until I said it. But there wasn't even an unpeach fist, so, it didn't even register as drama.
Yeah. Yep. Just know when you make alternate gamer tags, GrifballHub is very close with many areas of Microsoft and things and Halo.
And I mean, even without that, we have ability to,
Yeah.
We have technology. We have a technology.
And we have community members who are very good and want to play by the rules. So don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't cheat. It's
so
bad.
so now we have to stop making fun of bacon and old ham, and start joking about free puppies.
Free puppies. That's adorable.
I know, it's the
free bacon was delicious, but free puppies is you just can't beat free puppies. Free puppies is better than free bacon.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that.
Yeah.
Sorry, bacon. Okay, so
someone with an even more adorable gamer tag has to do something else now.
Well, what's more adorable than puppies?
I don't know. Although if there was a free Kal hashtag, you'd be like, please.
Take him. I'll pay you. Anyway, so we're talking about the AGLA. People got banned. Don't do it. Shame. Shame. Yep. Shame. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, so the season's going. We finished up week 1. We're finishing up week 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We're just waiting on confirmation from Sonic there.
I'm not an AGLA guy anymore. What?
I think this might be week 2 wrapping up.
Crap.
As of next Wednesday. Week 3 will begin on Wednesday.
Sorry, as somebody who's already in week 36, it's hard to keep track with all these little tiny week things.
Right. I understand.
No, you don't.
So, because this is our second Wednesday in Grifball, we had AGLA games.
Oh, that's true.
Because the first day we came back from RTX, that evening was the start of the AGLA season.
Yes, and our interns streamed for us, so shout out to them again.
Yeah, so Sonic, you and Crowbar and some other folks and Oogie have been doing a lot of streaming, right?
I helped out for that one Thursday, the first week. I was going to last week, but obviously my mom was in the hospital, so that those plans kind of changed last second. But
yeah. Definitely more important things you got going on. So hopefully everything's okay.
Yeah, no, everything's fine now.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was hesitant to ask just in case there was a different answer. Anyway, so yes, so we did last week, and this week, DJ and I commentated Wednesday, and then I'm not doing Thursdays anymore. It's part of my maternity leave, or sliding into it, so that I'm not doing Thursdays anymore. And DJ, I think, had a game, so I'm pretty sure that Oogie and Crowbar.
He was supposed to have a game. It got rescheduled. Got forfeited. Then the game was on again. Then it got forfeited again. And then I think it was on again, and then it got rescheduled. Like in the period of the hour before the stream went live, it went from the game being scheduled to not being scheduled. So it ended up being Crowbar running the stream and DJ and Oogie commentating, I believe.
Well, that works. That's why we have a flexible team. We have agile development.
I saw DJ complain. He was like, "Man, I feel like Ammy captains are more on top of it than pro captains."
What? He was the bench player anyway. What does he care?
Ammy captains try. Some pro captains don't try.
Wow. Okay, nice blanket statement. Let's just.
It's true. Some pro captains, they just are like week 2. They're like, okay, forfeit factory from here on out. Ammy captains, though, they might fall away for a couple weeks, come back for a couple weeks. They try. They try to try. Most pro captains are good people, I'm sure.
Most. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Wednesday night Grifball this week, we had AGLA games. Goose got to do commentary for the first time in a couple weeks since RTX.
I commentated games at RTX.
No, I mean since RTX. First time since RTX was this last Wednesday.
The following Wednesday we were flying, and Thursday I was dead. So I mean, I commentated with DJ One Hit Wonders versus Retroactive.
That was Rage and Alpha's team.
Yep, it was a battle of the Badmins, a Badmin battle, which was awesome. And then we also did.
If I remember correctly, that game came down to 4-4 Grifball.
It did. We sounded the alarm.
We did sound the alarm.
And who won?
One Hit Wonders.
Yep.
Was that a test, or were you actually asking?
I commentated it. I was there.
Okay.
And then for our 10 o'clock game, we had Hybrid Theory versus Impulse. So if I recall right, Impulse.
I think it was a 5-0.
Impulse had 5-0.
Yeah, that was a tough game to watch, because Impulse just dominated. There was really nothing Hybrid Theory could do. Hybrid Theory played a lot of defense. I think one of the last rounds was 10 minutes, and they were just on defense the whole time, which is pretty impressive in its own right. But yeah, it was a 5-0. And then on Thursday, who did we have play on Thursday?
That's a good question. Maybe Uki can chime in the chat box. But one thing that we are experimenting with is there's like 3 different ways to broadcast Grifball games.
Yes.
One is the easiest way, where people just play their games and the commentators and the streamer kind of eavesdrop, just go into spectator mode. That's what we started off doing with the GGL last season when we were streaming games with that.
That's what we did at RTX, right?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Because I thought that was spectator mode.
No.
RTX we used Knockyard's live court, so it's basically like your old school neutral host court basically.
Yes.
So you have 2 commentators who actually get into a host box, because when you get into free cam you cannot see the kill feed and you can't see player names. And then
that's right.
the camera goes into free cam with machinima controls.
Yep. So the first one is spectator mode. The only issue with that is, I mean, you're watching film, but it's about a minute delayed from when the action actually took place.
That's right.
So if someone's in the chat box, they can get spoilers like, wow, we just scored the 5th point and won. And everybody on the stream is like, that's
Boo,
still...
you're bad and you should feel bad.
Yeah, you have the extra minute of the film actually being buffered in Microsoft servers and us watching it. And then you also have the extra like 20 seconds or so for it to go from our television screen here that we're streaming to your screen on Twitch.
Right.
So by that point, it's like a minute 30
or so, yeah.
Yeah, behind what the actual action is, so someone can spoil it.
That's mode number 1.
That's mode number 1. Mode number 2 is what Sonic just talked about, where we do the what we did at RTX, which is that you have 3 people, 2 commentators, and they hide behind the wall, as we used to do in the old days, and then the third person goes in, switches into machinima mode. So machinima mode has to be enabled in that case, in the game type. So they just fly into machinima mode so that they can fly around the court and have a free cam and all that. So the people at home see the free cam moving around the court, but the commentators are in the wall, so they get to see everybody's call sign, they get to see the kill feed, and they get to have that extra bonus information they need.
All right, and then number 3?
Commentary. Number 3 is to just do the in the wall thing, which we did on Wednesday because we only had one Xbox set up here at our place.
We still haven't unpacked from RTX.
Yeah, we didn't unpack our second Xbox at the time. So it's just the straight from the side court view like we've had forever since the Halo 3 days.
Neutral host
viewing. The traditional view. So modes 2 and 3 we get live as close to live as we can because we don't have that extra minute delay for spectator mode. But mode 1 on the theater mode, the spectator mode.
Delayed.
It's easier on the players and they don't have to play on a special court and they don't have to have the commentators and all that in the lobby with them at the same time. It's just you go play your game whenever you play your game, and then we'll eavesdrop and we'll spy on you. So there's pros and cons to both of them. I think
all 3 of them.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to all 3 of them. I think from a production standpoint, for presenting the best product on Twitch, the second choice, like we did at RTX with the commentators behind the wall and the camera in machinima mode, is probably the best. But from the players and inconveniencing them, theater mode, the spectator mode, is definitely the easiest for them. So I'm interested in what you guys think, and anyone on the chat box might think about, is it a big inconvenience for the players to have us around while they play their game? Or is the quality of the stream for having machinima mode, that increase of quality, make it worth it?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how big of a burden are we?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm obviously biased, but in all my years of playing, I have never found myself as a player waiting for streamers and commentators to get into a game. But when I was on the other side as a streamer, there have been way too many times where I've had to wait for players to get into a lobby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's the sort of point where half the time lobbies are open for 15 minutes anyway as players get on.
Yeah, and I mean that happens across all 3. Because I remember when spectate mode first came out, we're sitting here just staring at gamer tags, waiting for people.
Waiting for the little eyeball to pop up.
Yeah, waiting for spectator to go live.
Yeah, so there's definitely waiting on that side of the camera, I guess. I don't know. It's tough because I don't really watch, because if I'm on, I'm usually talking. So I don't think I really have a very good perspective in that regard.
I feel like we try really hard not to be in a position for the players. We usually don't run late. I mean, the only time we might run late is if we're streaming 2 games back to back and the first game runs long. And even then we'll tell the captains, hey, if you guys want to go ahead and without being streamed, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like if you have something to do and you want to get it done, go ahead and play, and we won't stream it. But if you want to wait and be streamed, that's fine too.
Right.
But I mean, we try to not be in a position, although having extra people in the lobby, having to use a different map, having if a commentator accidentally goes onto the court instead of behind the wall, then you have someone extra crouching in like the corner all game or for all round. So it can, or if one of the commentators forgets to crouch and they start showing up on radar, like all of that can be like minor annoyances for the players.
I like to juxtapose it to
if someone tells our cameraman to press the back button.
Yeah, if Bravo screws up,
Yes, Bravo.
Yeah, blame Bravo.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're comparing to the thin ice court?
Well, yeah, when there was the race.
Yeah.
People raged about that.
So it's not as long as we're less in position than the giant dot that blocks out your radar.
Well, it's kind of like, post 9/11 when they had the pressure scanners and then the naked body scanners. They pushed the naked body scanners. So when they rolled them back, the other scanners didn't seem as bad. So you give the worst option and then people go, no, and then you scale it back to the medium option, which people would have rebelled against, but because it's not as bad as the worst option, they think that they've won. I'm not saying that's what's happening here. I'm just saying that that's one way of looking at it.
Yep.
But I mean, I'd like to think that the players enjoy being streamed, that they enjoy having their names shout out on the cast. Being able to say, oh, that's Oogie.
That's
or
DJ Blue screaming, oh, my goal.
Exactly. And the fact that they can go back and they can watch it. And, I think, at least I hope for the players in the game that supersedes any inconvenience that might happen by having extra people or things like that.
Yeah.
So, but then again, I think I might have been on one Wednesday night Grifball stream and it was Ways and Means Committee, so we lost. So I wouldn't have been sad if nobody saw it. But I mean, again, I personally haven't heard any kickback or pushback from players, and that's one nice thing about Grifballers is you never really wonder where you stand. Grifballers are pretty good about letting you know what they don't like.
Yeah.
So
Sonic, are you playing in the AGLA this season?
Yes, I am in Ammy.
Okay, are you a captain or are you a
playing
player?
on Crowbar's team, Oblivion. So it is me, Crowbar, Bacon, and Shadow Rain.
Oh, that's a good team.
Good job, Ammy captains, letting him go for 10. Well done.
Wow. Wait, did you have a
Yeah,
follow-up
I didn't know why that. Yeah, that seems very good for an Ammy team.
Yeah. You go, guys.
I mean, my team is me and Taco.
That's right. You're in Ammy too.
Yeah, I'm on Taco's team. And we had one of the puppies alt tags on there too. So minus one player now.
So you're going to play.
We had Gary the Walnut on our team.
Well, have fun with that, Cal.
Yeah.
Was there something more you wanted to say about that, or you were just...
No, I was just curious. What team Sonic ended up on. So Ammy games, I believe, start on the 20th, so this upcoming Wednesday, when the Ammy schedule begins.
Yay. That'll be exciting.
And eventually things will get on the site. That's a matter of flipping a switch and giving some access to the admins to put it up. So eventually that'll be up on the site.
So stop yelling at Rage. It's Cal's fault.
Yeah, it's my fault. Yell at me instead.
Yep. That's what I do.
Yep. So yeah, any other thoughts about the AGLA?
It's good to have it back. It's good to...
A sense of normalcy here.
Not that I didn't enjoy our Warzone Wednesdays or whatnot, but it does feel nice to have Grifball, and not just any Grifball, but, competitive Grifball that is like that 4-4 match between One Hit Wonders and not Impulse Hybrid Theory, that was the other game, and Retroactive. Like it was such a good game, and it was so much fun to call. And I think we had 30 plus people in the chat box simultaneously, which was actually more than we got during all of at any point during RTX, even during the championship game, simultaneously.
Championship peaked at 37.
Yeah, well, we had about that many, and this was just a season 2 match. It was really, really cool to just have it back, like you said, a sense of normalcy.
Yep, I agree. So one thing going forward, Halo 5 has had these monthly updates every month since the game came out. Well, more or less every month. Some of them were 6 weeks between updates. And they included, the Grifball update came out in February, and then we had the Fiction update and Warzone Firefight update and all that. But I've noticed that in the Halo community bulletins recently, they're not talking about the next update because I don't think there is a next update. I think they're done.
Yeah, they said they would go through June.
That was
guaranteed through June.
When Halo 5 came out and they were like free monthly updates, there'd always be a little asterisk, and at the bottom it would be, until at least June 2016.
Yeah.
So I get the feeling that Warzone Firefight was the final update for Halo 5, at least the final monthly update we're going to be getting for Halo 5.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, there isn't a whole lot extra that they could add that you would have like the turnaround time to do it each month. Like there's no other major elements that would go in. It's just map packs at this point, and that's usually something that they save to kind of spark more interest in it later when it starts falling off as the game progresses. So more likely the studio is converting full-time to Halo 6 and just maintenance on 5.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, and then like Halo 3's time frames when those map packs came out. I think the last map pack for Halo 3 came out 1 year after the game launched. It came out in fall of 2008, which was when the ODST disc came out. Because the ODST disc had the Halo 3 multiplayer that had all of the Halo 3 maps on it together, and that came out 1 year after Halo 3 came out. So I would imagine if this follows a similar pattern, the final Halo 5 maps, we might get more maps later this year, maybe one final thing this fall, and that would probably be the end of Halo 5 maps. I'm just speculating, but...
obviously they're still going to do bug fixes, and...
They just did a hot fix, late last week. They posted about it in the community update this time, where it was like, there's a lighting problem on Title for Forge that they fixed, and there were some Warzone tweaks they put in to help balance things out, and a couple of bugs they fixed. It was just a quick hot fix.
Well, yeah, but they're going to continue maintenance. I'm sure. I wouldn't be surprised if we see new armor or new skins, just small things like that, more aesthetic things, as opposed to like major game-changing updates. So it's not like they're abandoning it. It's not that they're, they put it out to pasture. What's that look for?
They're not making it MCC.
This is my, unless 343 explicitly promises it in very clear language, I would not expect it. Look.
I would actually expect updates for Warzone and whatnot, and new rec packs and whatnot, because it pushes microtransactions.
There are some companies that are very, very bad about maintaining their games. Ubisoft. But 343 has never really done that.
I think there's we might be dealing with two different definitions of maintaining their games.
They're going to fix things that break.
Yes, I feel like if things break, they'll fix it. They will update playlists, update maps and game types in playlists. Eventually, Grifball's still a playlist right now, right? They've taken it out. That eventually we'll get our new maps and game type into matchmaking, Grifball matchmaking. Yeah. They'll cycle things out.
This is maintenance weights. To me. What you're talking about is maintaining a game and keeping it playable.
Yeah, I was thinking also the big monthly updates. Like we don't have race, for example, as a game type.
Well, no, I don't expect big monthly updates.
We don't have King of the Hill. There's still some game types that we're missing that were in previous Halo titles that still haven't come out for Halo 5. So I would find it very unlikely to see those in the future.
Okay.
I wouldn't expect to be, here's our big monthly race update with race as a game type, and here's a bunch of Mongoose rec packs, and here's some special Mongoose, and here's a new racetrack Forge type map. And I'm not expecting to see those kind of updates come down the pipeline because they haven't been explicitly promised.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that. I prefer it when a game is released and it's a complete game. That's just a preference, but it feels like they've delivered on everything they said they would deliver over the last 8 months or so. So, again, as long as they caretake for the game, that's all I really care about.
Although, looking back, it is heartening to see how much Halo 5 has grown in the last 8 months, how much extra stuff has been added versus the terribly bare bones game that was released last October. It was here's 3 Warzone maps and some Slayer maps, and that's about all you get. You have 2 game types. But now you have a plethora of game types. Forge mode has been released and has all this added flexibility to it for scripting and creating new game types and new maps. And you have these giant blank Forge canvases. And now we have Warzone and Warzone Assault and Warzone Firefight. You got Forge coming to Windows 10, so people can forge things with a mouse and the keyboard. You have the new file browser, which is going to come out. People can pair screenshots to the files, to their maps and game types.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that has happened for Halo 5 to make it a more complete game. Like, I would not have any complaints if Halo 5 had released in this state last October.
Well, there's a reason it didn't.
Yeah, that is true. There's a reason it didn't.
There's a reason it took an extra 8 months.
Yeah. I suppose there are. I'm sure there are reasons why. Like Reach had this much stuff. Like, Reach was this big when it released. It just, Halo 5 had much less than Reach had.
Okay.
But I'm sure there are reasons for that.
Yeah, they probably look like dollar signs. I'm just saying.
I would say it's either so that they can push out more rec updates again, push the microtransactions, or after MCC, I think that they're very reluctant to release unfinished product.
Yeah. I mean, again, it wasn't just MCC. There were like 5 or 6 games that year that just had terrible...
I mean, 343 specifically, I'm saying. After having done one game, they don't want the same thing to happen with Halo 5. Like, if they try to release 5 with all this content and that content was unfinished and buggy, people would assume that it's just a general problem with 343 since it's 2 games in a row.
Right.
Instead, you wait until it's polished. And
yeah, I think if I were ranking problems to have with a game at launched, I would rather have a game be working but too small as opposed to not working.
And I mean, there's also the idea of just having a different kind of launch. I mean, we're talking about having everything ready to go day one because that's what we're used to. That's what kind of has always been the case. But with so many games out there and the way populations swell and then deflate so radically, you know, having the deployment strategy of here's 8 months of content that we can guarantee you up front. Mm-hmm. You're not guaranteeing loyalty for 8 months, but you know, at least people are going to be interested. And if you're still playing Halo after 8 months, the chances that you are going to continue to play are much better than if you played for a month and then stopped because there was nothing else coming.
I mean, we know lots of people who picked up Halo 5 at launch, played it for a week, and then put it aside and didn't touch it again until February when the update that they cared about came out.
Yeah. So, I mean, it might just be a new deployment strategy, or it might be a combination of both.
I know there are a lot of AAA games, it seems, that are trying to push more episodic releases. Like the latest Hitman is doing it episodic, where like each mission is released kind of separately. Mm-hmm. It's weird. And it seems like a lot. There's some people who like it, a lot of people who don't. Just because like some people will just want all the content at once, especially when you're talking like story focused type stuff. But
it's kind of the Telltale phenomenon where, you know, the idea that an episodic game would even work. I think Telltale was kind of one. And that they released games, and think about The Walking Dead. It was released in modules. For them, it was more of a financial size of their company.
Yeah.
Like they kind of had to do it that way. It was out of necessity. And then that model actually proved really effective because not only did you have people paying once, you have people paying 5 times. And that means that you have them reinvesting themselves over and over and over.
Someone who buys 4 episodes of The Walking Dead is almost certainly going to buy the 5th episode.
Right. As opposed to everything dropping at once where they might not finish the game, they might not pick up another Telltale game. So it's a way of extending the experience. It's almost like the anti-binge watching.
I mean, this sounds familiar to like differences between Netflix dropping a show all at once versus HBO releasing a show once a week for 10 weeks. And, you know, what is better for the company is like Netflix has their own model where they want people to sit on the couch and just watch, you know, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt for 10 hours all in one weekend and finish the entire show. Mm-hmm. Whereas something like Game of Thrones really relies on people watching it one week and then talking about it all week long. You know, 1,000 think pieces online and podcasts and forum posts and people just talking with their friends at work and school and then tuning in the next Sunday night at 9:00 and watching in the next episode.
We'll also consider just the business models. Netflix doesn't care if you binge watch for 10 hours because guess what? They've got a million other shows you can do the same thing with. Mm-hmm. HBO has a lot fewer shows, and if they were to drop all of say a series of Game of Thrones in one night, everybody would watch it in one night and then cancel their HBO subscription.
That's true.
So for them, financially, it makes sense to stretch it out over as many weeks as possible because that means people are going to stay with their product as long as possible. And I would imagine their cancellation spikes hugely when
Game of Thrones ends.
When Game of Thrones is over. So for them, it makes sense. Whereas you can binge watch Kimmy Schmidt, but you don't have Netflix for Kimmy Schmidt. You have Netflix for a lot of different
that
reasons.
plus everything else that's out there.
So it just depends on the business model that you want.
One thing I really wish companies like 343 could do, and this is like probably a logistics and HR nightmare, but what I wish they were able to do is give dedicated schedules to when these updates would come out. Like the 28th of or last Wednesday of every month is when the Halo update drops. And that way fans could actually get excited for it. And we would know, in May when they announced Warzone Firefight, we would know, okay, June 29th is when Warzone Firefight comes out. And we would know exactly this is Halo Update Day. And everything is dedicated to Halo Update Day, last Wednesday of the month, every single month. And that everybody knows that. That's something 343 can build around, and that's something the fans can get excited about. As opposed to what we had to go through with this for the first half of this year was all, the updates insert, it'll drop sometime soon. The updates were scheduled at the end of April. Oh, wait, actually got pushed back to the first week of May.
And every single person listening to the Hubcast who works in software development or game development is now currently laughing their heads off at such a ludicrous idea.
I know.
Deadlines are the bane of game development and software engineering in general. Just because you try to rush, if you try to rush a product for a deadline rush, things start to slip through the cracks. And I think, again, it goes down to 343 doesn't want to release unfinished and buggy product anymore. They want to make sure everything is polished when it comes out. Like I've seen that. I know there have been games. I can't think of the name, but I know there's a couple games. There's a couple like big AAA games that got delayed, and they were better off for it. I know the new Mass Effect Andromeda has been pushed back, and most of the Mass Effect fans are actually perfectly okay with it because they want to see a polished game come out and not something that feels rushed. Like I think Metal Gear Solid was actually a good example for me because like the first half of the game is phenomenal, and then the second half just feels really rushed. It seems like there was supposed to be a third chapter, and then the problems that Kojima had with Konami just kind of escalated before it could be finished. Like you can tell when a game is rushed.
Yeah.
So I think not having set deadlines helps with that. Like you want to have a target date, but if you basically just go out and say it has to be done by this date, and then you underestimate how much work you have to put into it, then you start running into problems.
I mean,
it's kind of like pregnancy. Think about it that way. You want to deliver, you have a set date for delivery, but really any time within a 4-week period, 2 weeks before or 2 weeks after is, it's normal. Like that's game development.
So game development is like baby development.
Yes, and yes, I've done both. So, well, sort of done past tense.
I mean, I think the game that everybody here would be most familiar with that was rushed at the end is definitely Halo 2.
Oh yeah,
like Bungie just taking a machete to the game and is like, we're cutting this, we're cutting that, we're cutting that, like being really hardcore about just chopping out large chunks of the game because they just couldn't get it finished in time for the November launch, like biting off way more. That's a kind of a Bungie thing too. Is just
the story
way more than they can chew.
Actually. The story I heard about that was that they actually scrapped the entire, almost the entire game the first time they developed it, and then redid it from scratch.
Yep, like they were supposed to be this big, like open world Destiny-esque fighting style, but for Halo 2, and obviously that didn't work out, and all they ended up with were these tiny arena shooters, and that's what Halo 2 became. But that was because they had no time and they had no budget, and that's what had been in development and kind of like a back burner. Nobody was really worried about it, and then when things blew up, that's what they had. So, but yeah, no, sweetie, that's not how.
Yeah.
That's not how the world works.
I'm sure that's how the suits at Microsoft would want it to be. Like, okay, here's your set date, and we can advertise about it and get the word out and build hype around Halo, update day every single month at the same time. But I guess in the real world, that's not something that can work.
Or if the baby analogy doesn't work for you, think about it like therapy. If you come in with a problem, insurance companies would love for you to say, okay, it'll take exactly 8 sessions for you to be cured of this problem. But we all know that that's not realistic, and everybody has their own issues. Software is just like that. Software is like a person seeking mental health treatment. They all have their own issues, and they need individualized special attention to be their best selves. You don't know how long that'll take. You don't know how long that'll take, but if they're committed, then they're going to get through it with support.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I went there.
Yep.
Okay, I think we've digressed enough.
That's probably good.
Good. Anything else you wanted to mention, Sonic?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody.
Sonic? Did you have any bacon for breakfast?
I did not.
What?
Oh, okay.
You had bacon for breakfast.
I did.
What?
I did talk with Bacon on Twitter.
Yeah,
Does that count?
that's what I was hinting at.
Was there some kind of conversation I should know about?
No, that's fine. I think
He
we
wanted
did
me
enough.
He wanted me to give him a shout out on the Hubcast, and I told him no.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
So now I'm giving him a roundabout shout out on the Hubcast.
So this is a not shout out.
This is an unshout out.
Yeah,
Shout out
unshout
to
out to
Ham.
Bacon.
Yeah, shout out to Old
Okay.
Ham, who got banned before it was cool.
Yep. The
But
hipster.
for some reason, nobody wanted free Old Ham.
All right, well, that's it for this episode of the Grifball Hubcast. Thank you all for tuning in. As always, you can find us on GrifballHub.com. We're also on social media, on Facebook, and of course on Twitter @Grifball and @GrifballHub. And yeah, so for Sonic, Kal, and myself, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Grifball Hubcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter @GrifballHub for all the latest in Grifball news and entertainment.